Welcome, Bert. So happy to have you today.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
My name is Stefan. I'm one of the co-founders of Shop Like You Give Them. And today we have Bert from MUD Jeans with us. Bert is one of the founders of MUD Jeans. And today we're going to be talking about cotton and specifically how MUD Jeans navigates the world of cotton. And I would love to learn a little bit about Bert and why you started MUD Jeans.
Okay. I've been now 40 years in the garment industry, and I started my job in China, working in China. I've seen all the factories in the world. I've seen where it goes completely wrong. And that's why I decided in 2012 to use my knowledge and a little bit of money I had in front of me and the network to start the first and only circular denim brand in the world. Because I thought that it all goes wrong with the cotton already. And if you want to make a change, take the biggest item, the most polluting item. Everybody has a pair of jeans. And if you start doing that better, then I think that maybe we can make some impact. So that's why.
Yeah, of course. So you're saying that cotton is the most polluting material there is?
The jeans are the most polluting, but it starts all with the cotton. That's where it all goes wrong. You know, it's sprayed 2 times over per week. Insecticides and pesticides, stuff like Aldi carb, that's totally forbidden in Europe. But we still spray that in India. We shouldn't do that. And that's why I thought if we can start using organic cotton, but also recycled cotton, which is my favorite, then we can make a change. So that's why we started to ask our customers to send back all jeans. We do that in 2 different forms. You can get a discount of €10 if you send your jeans back. This was 13 years ago, the start of the circular economy. And we launched Lisa Jeans in 2013 with the idea of customers really getting close to your brand, have a connection with them so that they know after use that they will send it back to you and that they realize the value of cotton. Even though it has been worn, that still you can send it back to us. We reuse it. We send it to Spain where it's going to be mechanical recycled. And now we can use mechanically recycled up to 40%, which is nearly half of your jeans. The jeans I'm wearing now has 40% waste in it. And on a laboratory scale, we even made it to 100%, but that's something we cannot do on big volumes. But that's our dot on the horizon. And today we have a pair of jeans with even 55%.
Why is it a lot that you can use 45% recycled fabrics?
Because it's complicated. Virgin material is always cheaper. That's the problem. And that's not only the problem in the cotton, but also with plastics. Plastic is so cheap that if you use recycled plastic, it's always more expensive. The same goes for cotton. It's more complicated. You have to gather all jeans. You have to send them to Spain. They have to tear them apart. It's a whole process. You can see movies on our YouTube channel, how that works. It needs more work. To spin recycled yarn is more complicated. The material, then there's always a problem with dyeing it because the dye stuff doesn't always hold as you wish. And we use also non-toxic indigo, of course. And the shrinkage also difficult to control. Every roll has a different shrinkage if you use a lot of recycled content.
What does shrinkage mean?
That if you imagine that you make jeans, they roll this material on tables so that you have a staple of jeans material. And then on top of that, they put the paper pattern of all the sizes you can imagine, all the pieces. They cut that, and then the material. Every roll you have to measure, say 1 square meter, what the measurements are before washing and after washing, and that's what we call shrinkage. And if you don't control that well, your whole pattern is wrong, and the jeans don't fit. That's why in jeans world you always have this problem of sometimes one size in one brand is not the same size as another brand. That comes from this whole pattern history. It's complicated to make a good pair of jeans, and especially when you use recycled cotton. Today, there's an invention that you can recycle cotton in a different way. So they call it chemical recycling. That means you bring the cotton back to pulp, like you do with bamboo, for instance. And with this pulp, you can make fibers that look more like lyocell, looks more like a viscose, so you can use it for blouses and things like that. You cannot make a sturdy jeans yard out of that, but we've invented, if you use both, you use the chemical recycled and the mechanical recycled. This is a little bit of a technical story. And you spin that together, it's very strong, and you still get a sturdy material, and where you then have a higher percentage of post-consumer waste, and that's our aim. So today we have a style with 55% post-consumer waste in it. We're very proud of that. One of the first.
Well, it sounds amazing. And I can imagine that a lot of people think, making jeans might be quite straightforward. You just cut up certain forms and you just, sew them together and you're done. But when I'm listening to you, it sounds like it's super technical and it's really complicated. Yes. Yeah. So what sets MUD Jeans apart from all the other jeans brands? What makes you different?
It's multiple things, but the really differentiator for us is that we always use post-consumer waste in our new jeans. So whenever you buy a pair of jeans, there's always old jeans in them. And we are the only one doing that. Some brands try and they make one pair of jeans with a little bit but we do everything. Everything is post-consumer waste and as much as possible. So we go from 20% to 55% now. Imagine that all jeans brands would use, say, 50% post-consumer waste cotton, because we have mountains of old jeans here in Holland and in the whole world. So you cannot imagine how much waste there is in cotton. And if you only take the jeans, you would use 50% post-consumer waste. If you could stop half of that and use that, for instance, for food, what a huge problem that would solve. This is why I started this, because it's so big. It's unimaginably huge, the amount of cotton we produce every year. If we would gather old jeans and we would close the loop, what we do, we have a closed loop system where we want our customers to send back old jeans to us. We then send them to Spain, where our counterpart is, who recycles the jeans. And if we imagine that everybody would do this, because we are fully transparent, everybody can see on our website our sustainability report. We give you the address of the producers in Valencia, in Tunisia, where we work with this manufacturer. Everybody can do this. It's no secret. So old jeans in your new jeans. That would solve an incredible problem of making less cotton. And then you could also increase the value of cotton, and you could also increase organic cotton, because up till now, only 1% of all cotton is organic cotton. That has to go also up. And kilos still a lot of cotton, but it's of course nothing on the whole scale.
A lot of work still remains to be done.
Yes.
And I was wondering, you mentioned that you use post-consumer jeans to, recycle. Why not just recycle, for instance, leftovers from production?
And that's called pre-consumer waste. And that's the cutting losses, things like that. And that's been done already for 100 years, and which is nice. It's easy to use because it's a very beautiful mono stream of raw material. We use it also, of course, but you shouldn't be proud of that, because that's just a no-brainer. Everybody does that, and we use it already for 100 years. So people that now make advertisement that they recycle, and they mean to say we recycle virgin material, that's nothing to be very proud of. The hard thing is to use old jeans in your new jeans. That's very difficult. You have to cut off the metal parts. You have to take away we don't use leather labels. You have to make it clean before you start. And you have to do the whole process of recycling, which is much more expensive than virgin cotton. What we do is actually economically a little bit stupid, because it's much easier to buy virgin cotton and use that, and things go great. So we challenge ourselves a lot by doing this.
That's generally the case for almost all sustainable brands, right?
Yeah.
What we do is quite stupid. I mean, shop like you give it them. We have on our homepage, don't buy if you don't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Telling people not to buy is generally seen as not really economically smart.
I think it's very smart.
And we've also off-boarded some brands we've worked with. We know people love because, they make beautiful stuff. But when you then discover that this brand is, for instance, exploiting people or, secretly doing stuff that's actually not as sustainable, we cannot stand behind them, even though it hurts us, financially a lot. That's the price of trying to do a little bit better. So I wanted to segue into learning from you what your favorite pieces of MUD jeans are. And I think you said, like, for instance, the White Sarah. So I'm really curious. Tell me more about this White Sarah. Why is this one of your favorite products?
Well, we talk about cotton all the time. I think we should also try to listen to nature and see what hemp, for instance, can do. It's a material that was used before for all the Dutch ships, for the sails, for the ropes, for everything. And it's a very strong material. It grows very fast. It doesn't need so much water as cotton. So the White Sarah has 20% post-consumer waste, so old shredded jeans, 30% hemp, and 50% new virgin organic cotton. And this makes a very beautiful, thin, denim-looking material that's very flowy, very fluid. I love the material. It's really great. And we try to enlarge our collection, but you should feel it. It's all in the feeling.
Okay, next, the Bryce. I think you're wearing it right now, right? The Bryce.
Not going to show it, but I'm wearing it, yes. No, that's the pair of jeans you really can wear also when you want to look fancy, but also when you want to look serious in the office and wear a blazer on it. So it's multiple use and a no-brainer. It's old-timer. We don't like to make new collections. Sometimes, of course, we have to follow fashion. If you bring today only skinny jeans for ladies, you're in trouble. But I don't like the idea of fashion. I would like to have jeans that are still good in 10 years' time and look good and have the best shape. And That's my dream. Of course, that goes against all economics law today because you have to bring new stuff and pump the market full. But that's why I like this pair of jeans, because it's such a good shape, and people from my age can wear it, but also young people can wear it because it's a rather loose fit and very comfortable.
I totally agree on that. Like fashion being like fashion trends, where some people decide that something is hip now and everybody follows, and everybody has to change their wardrobe again because this season or even this month or sometimes even this week, something is super hip, and then a while later it isn't. And then you can't wear it anymore because it would be weird wearing it outside of that little fashion trend context. That's really not sustainable at all. Okay, so I have one more of your favorites, the June mid loose. So why is this one of your favorites?
Because this is actually something we are very proud of. We've been working together with the University of Saxion in Twente because we thought we have to go further. We want to make jeans from 100% old jeans, which is technically not possible yet. And the reason is that today you have two techniques to recycle cotton. One is the one we use today, that's mechanical recycling, where you really tear apart the jeans and you start making fibers again. You start spinning again. And the new invention now, for a few years, they found out that you can also recycle cotton in it's called chemically recycling. You bring it back to a pulp where you can then make fibers. And that's a different sort of fiber. That's more like a lyocell, more like a viscose yarn, of which you cannot make a sturdy jeans yarn. You know, we need this sturdiness for jeans. We said if we then try to use both techniques and we spin the yarn from that, that's very interesting because you have the strength of the longer fibers of the lyocell, and you have the sturdiness of the mechanical recycling. And actually, we did that together with the students from Saxion. They tried everything, one yarn like this one, how much from this, how much tension, and everything. You can imagine there's 1,000 different ways you can try to do it. They came up with a yarn of which we now made 1 square meter of 100% post-consumer waste, of which we are very proud. But we could not put it in production yet. It's too complicated because it doesn't dye very good. The shrinkage is problematic. But for production, we made now this June, which has 55% post-consumer waste in it. So that means half of your jeans, more than half, is made from waste. Waste that is saved from the enormous mountain of waste we have. We gather that and we can make the soot. And it's a beautiful material. It has a little bit shininess. The fitting is very nice. It's very comfortable. And this is, of course, the most important part because we can invent whatever we like. But if it's economically not worth wearing or if it's not looking good, we've done a lot of research. For instance, what are you thinking as a consumer when you buy a pair of jeans? And I can tell you the first thing is always people say the fit, the washing, the price, the availability, and only number 14 is sustainability, which of course is a pity, but that's a reality we live in. And if we know that, the most important thing we have to do is make the best jeans with the best fit and take all the boxes, unless people start thinking about, maybe clientele from shop like you give it them, but in general, the big public is thinking like that. And we want to be broader, want to reach also the people that say, okay, I think there's something wrong in the world. Maybe I should change my behavior a little bit. Those people we also want to reach. Not only the people that come to a shop like you give it them, but of course they are already motivated to consume in a better way. But I also want to reach the people that don't realize, and I hope they read our stories, our sustainability report. We are 100% transparent. So we also say that things can be still done better. We are not perfect, but you can make choices. You can pay people well in the factory. You can use non-toxic indigo. You can use ozone for the bleaching. You can recycle the water you use in the fabric. There's all choices you can make. Technically, it can all be done. It's just a choice if you want to pay for it. And we do that. And that means that we cannot sell much more expensive because the market doesn't want that. So that means we make less margin. We can make less noise about our brand, which is difficult. But that's the way we want to go forward.
Well, yeah, that sounds really tough because, there's a lot of more expensive brands, but you are making all the right choices.
We like to, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So just out of curiosity, how does a brand who has less margins, like what is the impact of not being able to invest in getting the word out there, doing branding campaigns, etc.?
Yeah, that's a good question. It means that we've been working now hard, like 12 years, to build this brand where we are now. And to make more impact, we have to increase the volume. The jeans industry is a volume-driven industry. We've worked once together with IKEA. We had a huge order and we could suddenly go to our manufacturer and say, we need 100,000 yards. And if you do that, the price goes up €1 per meter, the quality gets better, and you get delivered in time. Instead of saying, oh, please, can you make 5,000 meters for me? So that's one of the things. And the other thing is that if you want to grow further, then you have to change from this little startup thing and people doing all kinds of jobs to a company that has the best e-commerce manager, the best salesman, the best designer, the best marketing manager. Otherwise, you will not survive. And to invest in that, you have to start paying real salaries also. You have to attract people. Okay, we do attract a lot of talented young people that want to work for a B Corp. They are intrinsically motivated to come work for us. But still, you have to pay the salaries. And that's sometimes hard because we want this very motivated, talented designer also who can choose between a lot of companies. And then if he wants to work for us, it's also choice in his salary at the end of the day. That makes it hard.
Of course.
Well, you know this.
Circling back to cotton, do you know exactly what your farmer is or, which field it comes from? Is that something you can know as a brand?
Of course, we don't buy the cotton ourselves. We ask our supplier of the cloth to make the right choices. And he's been working with Burkina Faso in the beginning. Lately, we've had some cotton from Turkey. We don't want it to have too far away, but we want to know what he's buying, and he has to inform us because we work with a track and trace system. We work with Text Tracer. On the QR code that's in our product, you can see the whole road of manufacturing, what has happened before. So normally we wanted to have that information, but that also is difficult. You have to push to get the right information.
And where does the data come from for Text Tracer? What information do they use and how reliable is it?
So they are connected to all our suppliers and they gather the information. We tell them to go to Royo in Spain and ask dispatch, where did it come from? And they get the information directly from our manufacturers. And we have a very simple production plan because we work only with one supplier for the cloth, now two, and we have only one supplier for the jeans. So it's a very easy road. But we want to know everything: the buttons, where they come from, how they are made from recycled metals. We want to know the sewing yarn, where it comes from. Normally, you should be able to find everything for every jeans, what comes from where and how much is used. So we make every year a sustainability report, but it's not easy. It's a fight to get all the information. Yeah.
Regarding that, so what challenges do you face as a more sustainable brand using cotton specifically?
Well, we make it ourselves very easy because we gather our own old jeans and we send it to Spain. So we know half of it already for sure because we delivered it ourselves. The other half, and in that half, of course, it's difficult because we also accept jeans from other brands. So you get a €10 discount if you send in your old Levi's or whatever. We only ask you to make sure that it has 95% cotton in it, because if there's too much plastic or elastan, we cannot use it in our batch. And then there's too much noise of other materials. So we don't want plastics in our jeans. So that's one of the challenges we have, to make sure that our batch is really more than 95% cotton.
So what happens if it has too much plastic?
You will get dots in the material. You will get breakage of the fibers, and the dye stuff only attach on the cotton. So you will get white spots in your denim cloth, which we have sometimes. And for us, it's a proof that we really recycle. But our customers are not always very happy with that. So that makes it difficult.
So stretch jeans, like really nice fitting stretch jeans, they are a problem.
They're a disaster. Some people make jeans with 20% stretch in them, and you cannot recycle that anymore.
So there's many challenges with being a sustainable brand. You cannot do everything perfectly. So when it comes to reducing environmental impacts on your cotton collection, what areas do you prioritize and why?
Yeah, that's a good question, because there's so much that goes wrong in the cotton industry and also in the making of a pair of jeans. From the cotton field to the jeans in your cupboard, there's so many steps. It's so complicated that everything goes wrong. And I'm talking about the indigo, for instance. Indigo is a very toxic dye stuff, chemical indigo. We now use an organic indigo, which is, of course, better. But for instance, for the black jeans, if you take black, that's a color that we don't mind if it fades out a little bit. But consumers are very much used to black, the dye stuff that's very toxic, but it stays really black. We tell our customers, this black fades out because we don't use this horrible dye stuff. Things like that. I talk about the washing. Maybe I told you already, we wash with ozone. So the bleaching is done with ozone instead of chloride and horrible chemicals. And making the jeans look a little bit worn out, that can now be done with laser. So instead of sandblasting and using all kinds of techniques and potassium permanganate to do this, you can now use it laser. And the advantage of laser is that you just burn away a little bit of the dye stuff and the yarn remains untouched. So that's why our jeans last much longer, because the fiber has not been harmed by sandblasting, for instance. And I can keep going. Jeans is, I think, is one of the most complicated products in the whole industry.
Yeah, I can imagine. And from a sustainability perspective, durability, like a jean, if it goes along for a long while, for like 10, 20 years, that's the most sustainable thing you can do. Just keep wearing it and not buying anything else.
That's what we want to do also now, because we work together with Text Tracer and we have this QR code in our jeans, which gives you the idea where it's made and how it's made. We also want to keep going, because for us, the connection with the customer doesn't stop at the moment we sold the jeans to you. And that's where our traveling starts with you. Our connection starts. So we want to know if you've had repaired or how long you have it. And when you can send it back, we are going to now work with a deposit refund, that after 10 years, when you bring it back, you really get money back. We are going to start with that.
It makes it very tangible that your old clothes are actually worth something. And that would probably also, inspire a lot of people to start not throwing them away or dumping them to Africa, basically, through all the, the recycling bins we have everywhere, but people actually handing them over, which would increase the amount of jeans available for you to recycle. So more post-consumer recycled materials available. That would be great, right?
Yes, you got it.
All right. Sounds good. Last question. What's the one claim about cotton or your cotton products that you will not make because it might be misleading or, as perceived as greenwashing?
Yeah. That's the cradle-to-cradle standard. We cannot be cradle-to-cradle because we gather all jeans, and we also get jeans from other brands, and we don't always know what's inside. Other brands can use toxic indigo, for instance. We don't. But still, in our recycling process, we might have that. So we can never be 100% sure what's in our new jeans. But we do know that toxic indigo after 20 washings is fading away. Toxic pesticides and insecticides are also washed out a little bit. So we cannot make the claim that we are cradle to cradle, but we do want to make the claim that we make the most circular jeans in the world.
Okay, I love that. I love that. And I want to close out this interview with a question about music. So, if you would be creating an ultimate Mud Jeans soundtrack, which song would you blast to feel fabulous and sexy in your Mud Jeans outfit?
I'm not prepared for this. But I have to think. Of course, you can think about the song from Mud, Tiger Feet.
Mud Tiger Feet. Okay, I'm going to be looking that one up.
That's a joke.
Thanks so much, Bert.
You're welcome.